Also muted. Now I am unmuted. Let's try that again. Hello, my name is Shelby Stokes. This is the Backlog Battler episode brought to you by Underpowered. My name is Shelby Stokes, and we now have both mics turned on. Philip, Karen, how are you?
It's nice to see you. Yeah, I'm doing good. It's been a long day, and essentially we are riding on the tailcoats of Tears of the Kingdom being released tonight. So, all things in consideration, I'm very excited. We have a ton to talk about, giveaway, all the wonderful things.
So my favorite part of the
And
beginning of this episode is you were already like, hey, can you just make sure I'm unmuted this time? And I looked down and both of us were muted. So way to bring us in right. You know what I mean? You said, hey, I feel like we're coming a little unprepared. I'm like, no, we're going to be fine. And then you found the first error, which is mics on. You know what I mean? Lights on, mics on. Two essential things to putting a podcast
not to be
together.
that person, but we should also throw the giveaway graphic up if we have
Oh,
that
yeah,
giveaway
let's do
graphic
that.
ready to go.
Of,
You can
of
tell
course we
that
do. Right here.
you and I have been thinking um about Tears of the Kingdom all day, and whether we're missing out or whether we're not missing out. And it appears that we, from the early reviews, not that I base my entire livelihood on IGN, but that we are missing out. It appears that's what the early reviews are telling
We are
us.
missing out. Like all of the gaming sites are like, this is a 10 out of 10. This is one of the best games of the year. Like it's getting 10s and 9.5s across the board. And I called it early. I was like, there's no way they're going to mess up Zelda. Like this game is going to be money all the way home. And boy, it seems like they are hitting all the marks.
Yeah, it's going to be a big launch. I know that there's probably going to be a lot of people calling in sick tomorrow night or tonight for tomorrow's shift. So
Did you know that I named this
employers,
episode Hyrule Fever based on inspiration from our Discord?
did you
I
really?
did. Yeah,
That's
I did.
that's a perfect.
I
That
think
is
it
a
was
perfect
CK
name.
or somebody that put it in there. So well done, CK. Props to you. But yeah, I mean, I feel like, and we're going to get into it a little bit later, but Jedi Survivor is one of the games that I just can't get enough of. I'm loving it to pieces. And now Hyrule's coming out, and it's like there's more goodness coming out. How can we handle so many good games at once? And the fact of the matter is, no one can handle that many good games at once. It's not possible.
It's shaping up to be a really good year. I mean, like every decade or so, you have a year like you have this year, where you have the new Zelda, you have Harry Potter, you
Hmm.
have Jedi Survivor, you have Diablo 4, and it's just one after the other, after the other, after the other, and you go like, well, it's probably not going to get much better than this when all of these big games are going head to head in the same year and not pushing out or delaying. And it's just like next month, next month, next month, next month. So this is going to be a good time, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. There's a lot of good stuff coming out and it's going to continue to come out, but let's get you all jacked. Let's get your blood a pumping. Let's get it going with our first clip, which is that exciting clip to get everybody hot and bothered. So this is you playing the Apex. It's been a while, but you're just over here like balling out like a pro, it looks like in this clip is what's happening.
Well, I think that the important thing to remember is that whenever you get to a place where you are playing a game that you're not very good at and you become the kill leader, which isn't going to happen very often, you got to clip it. You got to clip it. You got to send it to the file, log it away. Yes, and I didn't realize that for whatever reason, my EA account was different on my PlayStation, which is why I have that iconic Fortnite PS4 skin on my character, that my Apex account is the same. So I had to start all over again. So that is your exciting clip of the day. Encourage you to go out and get those achievements, man.
Dude, I can't believe it. You're knocking it out on Apex, you're playing Fortnite, you're getting into all the multiplayer games. Apex would just be like me getting shot and put down every 3 minutes, like
And,
consecutively, just like
and
done, done,
and
over and
the
over
thing
and
is
over.
that that's typically how it goes for me, which is why that's an exceptionally clip of the day. We can look back on this 2 years from now and go, remember that one time, because that is what it's going to be.
Remember that one time I was kill leader and then I never played that game again? Yeah, totally. So yeah, I mean it's fun times. We've been playing some other multiplayer games that we'll get into a little bit later, but yeah, it sounds like you brought to us a dad joke for the day.
I did. Well, in honor of Tears of the Kingdom coming out, with everyone literally loading up their Switches right now as we speak, I have 10. That is right. 10 Link puns or Zelda
Okay.
puns for you.
Okay. All
And
right.
I know that you like puns. You probably like puns
I
more than
do.
I like
I
puns.
love
So I'm
puns.
I'm gonna read through them pretty quickly and not give you time to even react to them. I'm just gonna read them and then let your face melt. So the first one says, "I link, therefore I am." Um, the next one says, "Ganon hates the internet. There are too many links." The next one says, "Just call her the Navigator."
Get out of here. Get out of here.
And then this one says "Try Force," which I don't know what that one means. This one says, "Lucky I'm wearing my Goron tunic tonight." So there's that one for you if that's putting you in the mood.
I don't know what that
Um,
means. Oh,
I
oh,
don't know what
okay.
that one
I
means
think I know
either.
what that means now. Uh-oh.
And then here's one for Breath of the Wild, which says, "Have you played The Legend of Zelda Gardening Sim?" I think that's actually a really good one
That
because
is
that's
totally
all you
on
do
point.
is gather vegetables and cook them.
No, but you have to
um,
memorize the recipe. Here's I don't want to derail you. Keep going.
no, oh, I don't even know. I don't even know. I think that that'll be the last one because some of these don't even make sense to me. So we'll stop with those
Oh,
ones. Those
something as
those
good
are the
as
key highlights.
Triforce. That is the worst Zelda pun I've ever heard. You're not even attempting a pun. See how I do it out of my way not to use the word try in there. But here's the deal. The new Breath of the Wild is out, or whatever you want to call it, Tears of the Kingdom. People are jacked, and I read like a why is this one better than the last one doc? It was like 10 things that make this one better. And one of them is, oh, they allow you to just put recipes and save them and click it if you have all the ingredients and cook it. No joke. And then I remembered back to Breath of the Wild, where you actually have to assemble the specific pieces without any guidance. You just had to remember that 3 apples and a tunic made an apple pie. Like, that is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I completely. I didn't know if I mean, and the ironic thing is I probably put more hours into that game last year than any other game I played the year, ironically. But yeah, I didn't even realize for half of my time there that you could even click on it to see what was in the recipe. I just was like making things up at random. So yeah, the fact these are just kind of no duh things, and I'm glad that they've made some of those
Uh,
improvements.
like they had that one where like you went din 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 din, brr, 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 right? Wasn't it some like really bad music every time you messed up a recipe?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They shame
It would
you
be
in
called. It
they
would call
shame
be
you
called
into having
dubious
no
food.
memory in Zelda Breath of the Wild. That's it. They're shaming people into not remembering things.
That's what they called it, dubious food, I think is what they called it, dubious food, and it looked like blurry pixelated greens.
Oh,
So you're
dubious
welcome.
food. Stay a while and eat some of my dubious food, if you will. Oh, dubious food. That's why I don't travel abroad anymore. Is because of dubious food.
Because of dubious food.
That's right. Yeah, so we got things going on. Zelda's coming out. We're a little rummy, and it's good stuff. I have decided that I'm not allowed to drink on this podcast anymore after last week's episode, but we are still going to give things away. Is that right?
We have some things. We have another print to give away. I will say
Nice.
that, plus some extra goodies. So we will see who joins tonight. If anybody, this may just be Dr. Z's donation bin if he ends up joining. He actually hasn't won in a couple weeks. So if he ends up stopping by before Tears of the Kingdom comes out, he may win. But if not, whoever else joins and subscribes, I have some things to give away today. Yeah, it should be
Ooh.
fun. It should be a really good time.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's very exciting. I know that we've been doing giveaways pretty consistently. So join us every other Thursday. Mark your calendar. Come join us. Even if you just want to grab some free swag or stuffs. Phil, have you been playing some video games?
An hour a day.
An hour a day.
It's 11 p.m. Should I play games or should I go to bed?
Clutch those gamer sticks and hold on for dear life because we've been playing games and now we're here to talk about them. Who's ready? Uh-oh, HG's ready. He's here for the prize. Spoiler alert, it's not Fortnite bucks. It's not V-Bucks, if you will. Isn't that how you pronounce it? Isn't it V-Bucks?
V-Bucks. And you know what? For the next giveaway, I will get some V-Bucks and add that to that. That is my commitment that I will put some V-Bucks in the pile for the next giveaway on the following Thursday. Yes,
Dude,
yes, I will.
that's awesome. All joking aside, I really want to get back in and put a couple rounds in Fortnite, but there's so many good games right now. and you are kind of nearing, I'm guessing, what might be the end on a very good game.
Yes, I am playing Ratchet and Clank, and this is going to be one of the most underrated games that this is one of the most underrated games I've played in a long time. The clip you're looking at here really deals with the pacing of the game. So this kind of almost reminds me of Donkey Kong, right? And you're jumping, you're sliding, everything, every which way you go, right? There's something to do. They cut out all the extra space. Game flows nicely in and out of other dimensions, right? The time travel element is really cool. This game is fun and has actually made me feel. I know I said the same things last week, but it made me feel like this is a next gen game. And yeah, I mean, you can just see here for yourself. They have little cheat codes where you can turn the little bolts or the coins that you collect into rupees, as you can see I've done there. And you just the pace is exhausting.
Dude, the rifting looks so freaking cool in this game. I can't get over it. I cannot get over it. Like whenever you pass through one of those purple or yellow portals and the whole world kind of morphs to the next scene, it's really like I don't even know. Like it makes me want to hop in because it's such a cool effect. I just can't get enough of it.
Yeah, I mean, and that just adds right to that pacing element where they could have made it really cheesy, but they didn't. And so when you pull yourself, it does feel like you're being pulled over there. And then you hit these little purple crystals, right? When you hit the purple crystals, you go to like essentially another dimension or into the future, and it's the same environment, just different. And then you hit it, and you're back in the same place, back in time. So they have these alternate dimensions, and you hop back and forth between them. Tons of mini games, tons of mini bosses. The side quests in this game to get different armor pieces are all cost beneficial. So you can they don't take a lot of time. They're pretty low risk. You complete them in a matter of 5 minutes, and that once again encourages you to continue playing
So
and continue doing those side quests.
how is the humor in this? Like this seems like it could be a really good like play with your kids type game. You know what I mean? Like do you feel okay playing this around little ones or would you caution against that?
Yeah, this reminds me of like I have never played a Ratchet and Clank game, so I know that there's a ton of them already. But this is like a in the vein of Spyro. This is in the vein of
Mm.
Crash Bandicoot. This is in that vein where it's a family oriented game. It may be a little bit difficult for younger kids, but for older kids, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, who they have the dexterity, it's completely manageable. They have probably 30 guns, 20 or 30 guns that you can use, and I have
Whoa.
actually found that during the boss battles that I'm using all of them.
Hmm.
So that is like I'm using all the bullets from all the different guns. They have upgrade trees, right, to upgrade your different guns that give additional ammo, extra damage, on and on and on. And it's pretty easy to interact with. So yeah, I find that this game is pretty much flawless. I would say it's pretty much flawless.
Yeah, if you know anything about me, I may have said this before in the past, but I have hit this point in my life where like everybody knows I'm a gamer, right? My family knows I'm a gamer. I don't watch a lot of TV, but if I have like 20 minutes in between things at home and I just want to chill on the couch, I normally have a game on. So what I'm hitting in this portion of at this time in my life is that I basically have to have an adult game and a kid game. You know what I mean? Like a game that you're going to play with your kids and then a game that you're going to play like once the kids go to bed. And maybe that's even like a segment for us, Phil. Like that may be something we want to like dive into
I
because
like that.
I've been playing a lot of like kids games that are really really good. And I'm not going to go in there and play garbage with my kids because I don't want them to I don't want to have to play bad games. And if I run into shovelware, I'm like, nope, see you later. But this is a game that I would play and or buy and play like in that capacity. Like, hey, the kids are here. Let's jump in and play a little Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't feel bad at all about playing this in front of my son. So I actually love the idea of a good like I would maybe the kids table segment or something like that where we talk about a game that's appropriate for kids. I think that's absolutely fantastic, and Ratchet and Clank definitely falls into that category. So
Yes, it does.
100%.
Yes, it does, definitely. So yeah, so we have some things going on. I realized that I went out of show on this one. Should we hop back to what we had planned, or should we keep going down the gaming hole?
I think we should just keep going down the gaming hole, and we'll
Okay, let's
swap
do it.
back in just a minute.
Okay, perfect. So we have also been playing a game, you and I, and it is probably one of the cooler games that I have played in a while. And it is a game that it's a survival game, right, Phil?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a game that should be played with friends. I was not expecting it to be so large. I was not expecting it to be as fun as it was or as easy to use. And this game is called Grounded. We tried it on Wednesday night, on Tuesday night, I believe. We ran and we ended up playing it for the better part of 3 hours, three and a half
Where
hours.
did that time go? I still don't understand. We hopped on at 10 o'clock, I blinked, and then it was like 1 in the morning. Like, I can't
Yeah.
believe how good this game is.
Yeah, I mean, this is a game that, you get if you get four people together, you can have a lot of fun with it, right? Because they have done a lot of things with this where you can set blueprints on the ground to where your friends can finish them and build fences. You can share equipment, you can create bins where one person can go out and collect resources, the other person can explore. I think one of the things I think this game has done really well is that there are really only two things that you have to manage, right? You have to manage your water intake and you have to manage your food, and that's it. Sometimes I find survival games or games like base building games like this really really not user friendly. So like
Yeah,
the learning curve is very steep on sort of base building games where you have to learn a ton about the mechanics. And there was a little bit of that there with this
definitely.
game, going through the different menu screens
Definitely.
and figuring out what's going on. But the fact that the only two things you have to manage are your water and your food, and then obviously your health, made it so that I felt more comfortable exploring. Although we did run into the cursed thing that we run into with all games, where you go to an area where you have tons of stuff, you have your full backpack, and you wander into an area that is way too hard for what you should be doing, and you lose all your stuff. And then you're like, "Fit, let's turn this off and go to bed."
Yeah, yeah, and that definitely happened. So just coming off of Valheim is a game that is a game that I just recently played, also a survival game. And what I'll say is like Valheim I really enjoyed, but this game has a world that I want to just poke around in. And I don't feel like Valheim had that. I also think the onboarding is way more kind in Grounded than it was in Valheim. Like I walked into a troll in Valheim and just got crushed. So focusing on Grounded, I think one of the cool things about this game is the world. If you're watching the screens, you see where the character is crawling up like a telescope, and all of the different items that you see in this backyard, because you're a shrunken character in the backyard of a house, those are all things that you'll see, like a rake or a hedge or a shed, and all of those places will come into the map a little bit later. And basically, what it provides you is it provides you to feel like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, where you're crawling up on something and being like, oh, this world is huge. And I thought it was a really, really good way of going about really opening up the world and having that, hey, you can go there type atmosphere. They talk about that in games at times, but there's not a lot of games that capture it as well as this game did.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely felt in the very beginning really apprehensive about going out and exploring, because you are walking through this tall grass and you don't know what's out there, and you kind of get disoriented and you don't know what's what. But then once we started walking, I think both of us realized pretty quickly, like, this is a huge map and there's a ton of stuff going on, and the only way that you're going to get the tools that you need and the ingredients that you need to complete the recipes that you have is by venturing out and exploring, and they heavily reward exploration. So yeah, I was taken by surprise with this, and I thought it was amazing. I
Yeah,
mean, you
I,
can see here this. Yeah, go for it.
this is the part that I want Dr. Z to see, and I don't know if he's gonna pop in here or not. But basically, this is one of the coolest elements I've seen in a survival game. Because when we played Valheim, we ran into this thing where I'd be like, I'd go out and venture and look for goods, and Dr. Z would be back at base, and he would essentially be building things, but he would run out of materials. And what this system provides you that you're seeing is you can set the blueprints of where everything goes in your base, and then your other teammates can just roll in and actually place those resources in the items or frameworks that they've put it within the base. And it really allows you the ability to kind of have one person build while the other people can go and forage, and you feel like you're completely on the same track the entire time. Whereas in other survival games, you feel a little bit more disjointed, and this just made a really good effort on making you feel like a team, like you're in it together. And it's just really, really well done, and I am kind of surprised at how sticky this game is.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that I know you and I were talking strategy after we got done playing it, but
At 1 in the
clearly the
morning,
long,
I'm messaging
yeah,
you at 1 in the morning, like, hey, I know we just played for 3 hours, but here's what I'm thinking for strat.
yeah. I mean, I think the long-term strategy for this game, really, I mean, to talk strategy, is going to be having proxy bases because
Mhm.
everything is so far away. And clearly, that's the purpose of all these resources is to have bases set up on different parts of the map so that you can rest at different locations and go from place to place.
Yeah, and after playing Valheim, I played for probably like 6 hours, and I didn't realize if you just laid down a bed and then claimed it, that was your respawn point. So I ran into a situation where I was running like halfway across the map, naked and afraid, and just getting smashed by like boars and low-level enemies. So once I figured that out in Valheim, I came here, and it's a similar system. So why am I bringing that up? Because this is going to be the year that I actually start to appreciate survival games, Phil. Like prior to this, I did not have any interest. I came in, I died, and I was like, this is too much, and I would quit. I ran into it with Subnautica and multiple other games that people have been raving about for years. But this year is my year. I now know how to use beds in survival games.
Yeah, I
Ba-ding!
mean, I think,
Achievement
I think
unlocked.
I think that survival games are just better played with friends, at least from my limited experience. Like, I don't know if I would have had as much fun with that game if I hadn't been playing it with somebody, because you really have to go through that experience together.
Yeah, this is where Phil pulled me out of the trenches with only 1 second remaining. Look, I'm dying, I'm bleeding out, a spider has attacked me. Phil, come save me! Come save me, Phil! And literally, like at second number one, boom, here comes the res. Like, I don't know how you did that. Like, how did you do that?
Well, and the thing is too is I got caught. Like if you hear that dialogue, I got caught in a net right, but a spider web right before. So I'm like desperately swinging because you have to go. It's like Dark Soulsian, right? You have to go back and get your backpack um, every single time when you die. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to trek all the way back out here again.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's hear let's hear it. It's finally time. We've been waiting 2 weeks. Jedi Survivor. You've been playing it. I think it's time to talk about it. You're up.
What do you want to hear? Jedi Survivor is one of the best games ever made. Like, let's go, guys. Like, this game is so freaking amazing. I can't believe how they've improved this formula in such a masterful way. So the screen you're seeing now is me traversing through the world, but those little guys in those hoods, yeah, those are Jawas. And I think that that is one of the things that this game does so well. It felt like it was a good, okay, let me break this up. Jedi Survivor is the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order. Jedi Fallen Order had a lot of good things going to it. This feels more like a lived in Star Wars universe than that game did. And the reason I pulled this clip is because you see Jawas in it, but you're not just messing with Jawas. You're looking at stormtroopers, you're looking at battle droids, you're looking at all of these different enemy types that fit right into the lore, and they tie it in a way where it really locks together and feels like a lived in world. And it feels like for so long, these Star Wars games have been like, we know what you're here for. Here's the Star Wars. Look at it. But this actually feels like the characters are developed and meaningful in a really, really cool way. And I think that it's a masterpiece. It really is. The next screenshot you're looking at is me just traversing the world, and I get knocked up in something and get knocked down, and the game asks me to save my own bacon. In other words, it's not just like a cut scene that's a lot of Uncharted where you're just going to mash through and hit the buttons and it's all going to be good. Like in this scene, the character gets knocked into a pit of death, and you got to scramble and basically try to survive the death that's going to come upon you if you were just to sit there and not move. So not only is it like a game that is very Star Wars heavy, it also makes you take on responsibility as a player in the game, which I think is really, really cool and something that some games just won't do. Like they just want to hold your hand. This game is not holding your hand.
Well, I mean, that leads me to my next question for you, which is like in these types of games, especially in Star Wars games,
Mhm.
how is the combat?
I think the combat is so good. So good. So what they've done is they've basically set you up with like 2 or 3 stances in the beginning, and then you're able to unlock more stances. And each one of the stances has like multiple benefits. One's more defensive type, one's more offensive type, and they each have a different flow or combo style within them, and it really dictates how you're playing. I have found on multiple occasions that if I go in and start button mashing in this game, I will get destroyed. Like there was a time just in this last session I played where there was like 4 low-level enemies. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go in there and wreck them, and I like wasn't really paying attention, and before you know it, I was on death's door, like about ready to fall. And it was like, wow, they should not have put me into this situation, or I should not be able to get in this situation with so many low-level enemies. But sure enough, I had. So I think that because this has stakes, it feels like the combat is much more intentional than I would have expected. And for that, I am very thankful.
What is it, more of like a parry system? Is it an attack and parry system, or is it just like a block and then attack?
Um, Both. So I think like so you are able to parry, and then sometimes you're up against enemies that don't allow you to parry or block their attacks. So when their character turns red, it indicates, hey, you better get out of the way. So you're incorporating dodges and parries both within the combat system. And then what they're also asking you to do at times is essentially like you're essentially dodging, blocking, but you're also finding out the enemy's attack patterns to where, okay, I have to block this enemy, and then it's going to open up my window for attack. So it's not as easy as just like block attack, block attack, block attack. There's times where you actually have to learn character movements, or in that clip I just showed with that monster, I know that there's a combo that this kind of like mini boss has where he attacks 3 times. He'll slam again, and then he'll leap, and then that's my opening to come in and attack. So really it's kind of learning the attack patterns and responding accordingly.
Yeah, just memorizing timings and memorizing different steps.
Yeah, a little bit. And then this last clip that I'm going to show you before we move on is, wait, this is a video game? Oh, wait, you guys can't see it.
I don't know. That wasn't rhetorical.
There we go. Wait, this is a video game?
Nice work, everyone.
So if you're not watching the episode visually, essentially you are watching a cockpit space fight. There's a duel in space where they're taking each other on. They're close up on characters. They're sharing dialogue. They're zipping in and out. And the action of the spaceships is so high quality at this point that you seriously like can't even tell that it's a video game over a movie. And I think we're in the sweet spot of video games where you look at the stuff and you're like, oh my gosh, this is movie quality. And I'm just so excited to be living and existing in this universe, and also having a good combat system tied in with a Star Wars game. I can't get enough of this thing.
Yeah, I mean, there were times that I felt that way about like Callisto Protocol, right? There were
Mhm.
certain sequences where the lighting is just right, and you're like, wow, think about what we were playing 20 years ago, and you're like,
Yeah.
there's just no way, right? The original Modern Warfare campaign where you see some of these soldiers moving, and you're like, it's hard for me to distinguish between what's a movie and what is graphics at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. So it's really good. You know, I made a short about it. I don't know if anybody saw it or not, but essentially like because Zelda is coming 2 weeks following Jedi Survivor, like part of me is like, dude, look at this amazing Star Wars game we have. And then Zelda is just gonna come here and be like and just grab like all the attention of the zeitgeist, which is like fine. Like they deserve it. Nintendo is Nintendo. It's a Zelda game. Like all the props are definitely due. But like I really hope that people remember this game because I think it's amazing. And I think a lot of people are gonna shelve it because Zelda's coming out soon.
Yeah, I mean, and there's just so many games people are going to shelve right now, right? Like
Mhm.
I haven't even finished Ragnarok yet, because and God of War yet, because it's just been game after game after game after game that's came out this year. So it's unfortunate that it came out 30 days before, and now yeah, it's going to be wiped off the gamer memory books. But I'm glad like they need to do the Star Wars universe justice. You know what I mean? They need to have a good balance. You can have good lore and good combat at the same time. It's not just relegated to one or the other.
That's right. That's right. It's a beautiful time to be a gamer. It's a beautiful time to be a gamer. But as we celebrate the present, we also need to celebrate the past. Guys, it's time. Let's get social. That's right. It's time for social interaction where we throw some stuff at you. It's been a tier list in the past, but today we're doing something a little different, aren't we, Phil?
We are, for the sake of time here, we are going to do our top 10 video games of all time in no particular order, with a quick one or two sentence reason behind why this makes the list. So it's five from you, five from me. I haven't used this interface at all, so this is going to be a learning curve for us tonight. Um, and um, and I think that we're just going to enter it in, and I think you can go first once you get this loaded up, and um,
Okay. All
and we
right.
can get going.
I think we've done it. I think we've done it.
Yeah, looks good.
Okay. Okay. So I guess like, am I putting in no order, just like the top games of all
No, yeah,
time?
no order. So
Okay.
you can pick first, and then you can give a little one sentence, two sentence of all time.
I know.
Okay.
See, this is not easy. This is not easy for me because it's just like, well, what do you mean? Like the best game at the moment or the best game today, or what does that mean? I think a game in the conversation for best game of all time is Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption 2 is absolutely amazing. I think it takes all of the years of GTA to make this game even potentially a possibility, and for them to tie it in into into a game that tells such an epic tale of cowboys is just like top notch. Like, well done. I'm a fan.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that that was going to be one of mine. I don't think that you can really do much better than this game. They thought of everything. I mean, it took them 10 years to put it out, and they thought of everything. They thought of the temperature, they thought of the animals, they thought of there was pretty much every game, everything that they could think of from customization to combat, they thought of it, and I think that deserves to be on this list. Okay, so then I'm going to go with one of mine, which is going to be an obvious choice. It was our game of the year for last year, and I'm going to go with Fortnite. I don't think that there's a game that has been more responsive in the modern world to adapting to keep their fan base. That has every time you think that they're about to be done, they introduce something else. Zero build mode. They introduce a big concert with celebrities. They do skins from pretty much everything from anime to The Rock to Star Wars. They have everything under one roof. And really, if you're looking for a casual game that you can just sit down and play with and not really have to worry about wasting your time, Fortnite to me is on the list of top games of all time.
I think you're right. Yes, definitely. And I think that's what makes these lists kind of difficult is like when you say of all time, people are like, well, Pong made a lot of inroads. But if you were going to make a list of must play games, Pong is not on that list. Fortnite is. Fortnite is a game somebody you know is playing and you should go play with them.
Agreed. So now you're up.
I am going to take The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3 is an absolutely amazing video game, and the way that they tell stories and tie in RPG elements is top notch. Though it's not the most RPG type RPG, it is so good at telling a story while making you feel like your main character has an impact on the world that it is unparalleled, I believe, in terms of medieval games of this ilk. And if you have not played Witcher 3, it does take a little while to really sink your teeth into, but once you do, I promise you, you will not regret it.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing with me is I played this game a little bit, and the most iconic thing for me was when I opened up the front. I think I told this story already, but when I opened up the front case of The Witcher 3,
Mhm.
there was a little note inside from the developers that said, this was right before DLC was really getting big, and they said, "You paid your money for this game. Everything that we do, all the updates, all the DLCs are free forever." And I was like, "This is a developer who's in touch with their fan base." I ended up bouncing off this game because it was so much game, and at that time, I wasn't playing a ton of games, so I got kind of overwhelmed with how much there was to do.
Mhm.
But I can definitely see how this could be at the top of the list.
Yeah, definitely. There's so much goodwill in that game that everybody was disappointed because of Cyberpunk 2077. Like Witcher 3 set the bar, and then everybody was upset that Cyberpunk was not of the same caliber. And I think that says a lot about how good the predecessor of Cyberpunk is, being The Witcher 3.
I agree. So the next one on my list is going to be StarCraft. I see that you already have it there. It's funny because we have a lot of the same games. So StarCraft for me, I mean, what else can you say about this, right? This game became essentially the national sport for South Korea. You really can't take a game where you have three different factions and make them so perfectly balanced that I mean, essentially the birth of esports came from StarCraft and StarCraft tournaments. I mean, there were lots of other, fighting was its own genre, but as far as real-time strategy goes, I mean, this was the trendsetter. And StarCraft 2 only built upon that as time went on. So StarCraft is on my list.
Yeah, and it deserves to be. It's arguably, I think it is the best RTS ever made. And I don't know if anybody will derail it from that position.
I agree.
I think if you're talking about the best games of all time, there's a game that needs to be on this list, and it is the Elder Scrolls 5. That is Skyrim. Skyrim is amazing. Elder Scrolls 5, is that right? Skyrim?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you are correct.
How
You
do I
are
add it?
correct.
Let's do it. Let's do it right here. I think that this game is just amazing. And even going back and looking at how many systems that they've ported Skyrim to really speaks to how good that game was and how good that game continues to be. Like it basically revolutionized the RPG makeup and the open world where Bethesda has really made their money in the last 10 years. The framework was all set out in Skyrim and continues to be an amazing game.
I agree. So the next one on my list is going to be actually Dota 2.
Ooh.
That is the next esport type game, because they really set the bar for these big money tournaments. The very first international, if everybody remembers, the prize pool was $1 million, and that was the first time that a game had ever really, a competitive game had ever really put real livable money. I know some of the later tournaments, even the one that's coming this October, right? Each player is winning $1 million. I think it's up to 8 or 10 million now for first place, and all of that money is because they perfected the freemium model. If you play Dota 2 at all 100 characters or however many characters they have are 100% free. That game is 100% free to play. All of their money comes from customizations, battle passes, and they were one of the first ones to do it. So, from a trend setting perspective, I think Dota 2 lands on that list.
Yes, I agree. Now, is it in here as Dota or is it in here as Defense of the Ancients?
That's weird, huh? Is it not? Is it
It
really not
is
showing up as a game?
Defense. Oh no, it's not. Look at that. So weird. Anyway, Dota 2. Tell me more. How into Dota were you?
I was never really. So they really, I mean, really, they had two games, right? You had Dota 2, and you had League of Legends, right? And so League of Legends is kind of like the light version. It was a little bit less complex. It was a little bit more visually stunning, and that's why it got more views, I think, in the West, like in the United States and in Europe. But Dota had much more complexity. I would sit out and watch the tournaments on my break, especially when they were at the Key Arena. I could hear people chanting and shouting when I was on my break at work, and people were sitting outside and watching it. I mean, the Key Arena sold out. Those tickets were going, even the first couple of internationals, they were in Seattle for 7 years in a row before they started traveling to other countries to do the tournament. And now it's coming back to Seattle this year. And people, the tickets were going for $200 or $300 a ticket to get in and have a seat. And people were sitting on the grass. And that was the first time that I remember thinking to myself, like, this is wow. This is a game that this is something that is changing the world.
We need to go. We should go to the international.
Yeah, I have plans to go this year because I missed it and I regret it. Even just to have the experience and be with
Yeah.
all the people cheering, and they have the 10 players sitting in the middle of the stadium, and there's all this smoke and it's super intense and everybody's going wild. It's a big like best of 3 or best of 5,
And
and
it's
to
going to be
sit
in
there and
Climate Pledge this year, right?
yes, it will be in Climate Pledge. And so
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
definitely gonna go at least one of the days. Probably not the grand finals day, but one of the days I'll go watch.
Dude, I'm in. We're filming that day. That's going to be a write-off for sure. That's a
Yes,
write-off on our taxes. We're making that
yes, it
happen.
is. Yes, it is. So that's on my list. What do you got next for you?
I am going to throw The Last of Us on this list, and I
Oh,
think
good
that
choice.
it could be The Last of Us 1 or 2, wherever you land. You know, I think 2 had more to say. I think Last of Us 1 was more revolutionary, but ultimately, like, this has changed video game storytelling for the better. Period. End of sentence. Like for them to be able to take this game, turn it into an HBO series, and also find success on television with people from multiple demographics shows you that this is more than a video game. This is a tale that is told in a very specific way. And I think that by playing the video game, you're more bought into the characters and it makes them a little bit more complex than what the show offered. And for that reason, I think that we should hold it up because it is a pinnacle in storytelling within games.
Love it. I love it. I am actually gonna go with for my next one. I am gonna go with Ocarina of Time.
Ooh, well done. Well
Ocarina of
done.
Time. Well, Ocarina of Time lands on my list. I mean, this was a game that was way ahead of its time. The boss battles, the lore. I mean, honestly, even though Breath of the Wild wasn't one of my favorite games for many reasons, and I ended up spending almost 200 hours playing it, um, uh, the lore and the mythology of Zelda has always been one of my favorite. Just the different entities and the general mythology of Zelda has always been my favorite. So for that reason, the Ocarina of Time obviously lands on the list.
Yeah. So these lists are always so hard to put together because you want to like give a nod to each generation and you want to try to find the best in each genre more specifically, but it's difficult to kind of round that out. So I will say that this next game might not be my favorite, but I think it has a lot to do with one of the best games of all time because of what they attempted and what kind of framework they kind of put out there for people to follow, and that is Mass Effect. I'm going to throw Mass Effect 2 on this list because I think that's where the series really shined the most. But for the most part, like Mass Effect trying to tie together all of these characters across three different games is something that was never done before and arguably was very hard to stick the landing of. As everybody knows, when the third one came out, it was a little bit of a struggle. But Mass Effect is one of those games that if you are a gamer in any capacity, you must play this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my hater hat on here a little bit and say that I really enjoyed the third one. I
Yeah.
thought the third one, a lot of people were haters on the third one because the ending seems kind of arbitrary no matter what you did. And they want, like, this was the first time I think that a developer like rewrote the ending to the game and like to make fans happy. Whatever, dude. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the third one. I didn't think they needed to rewrite it. The fact that everything was sort of arbitrary at the end kind of was very fulfilling to me of like it didn't really matter all these choices that you were making. It was only going to end up one or two ways. Um
Dude, I feel like we could have a really long conversation on this, but essentially, like I would agree with you. I didn't mind the ending. Spoiler alert: I never finished Mass Effect 3 because I got to a difficulty spike that I couldn't beat, and I spec'd in the wrong direction, and it was very frustrating. But after like retrying this boss 25, 30,000 times, I was like, no, I'm done. But ultimately, the downfall to a game or any of these games is when you're given so many opportunities to make different choices or branching paths, ultimately you have to tie those stories together in a meaningful way for everybody. And when you try to
yeah.
paint everybody in the same way, which is necessity, it becomes hollow for some. And I think that's exactly what happened here. Like being able to say, hey, we're going to track your progress and decisions over 3 games is like, wait, what are you doing? And for them to like not tie it up perfectly for everybody is like, duh, of course. And I think that's part of the promise of artificial intelligence. Like if they're able to like paint storylines and good conclusions in any direction, the world could be our oyster. But it turns out games are hard to make and they take a lot of time and money. So get over it, kids. Mass Effect's good.
I agree with that 100%. So it looks like I get the last pick,
You
right? So
do.
the last pick for me is actually going to be a game that's not on your list here. It's going to be Shadow of the Colossus. So I know this is kind of a cheesy pick for me because a lot of people feel like this is an easy one. I really enjoyed Shadow of the Colossus. I played it about 10 years late, but the novelty of the storytelling, where I don't want to give anything away, but essentially you climb on these 10 giant beasts and the
Oh,
beasts
dude,
themselves.
give it all away. This game is like 20 years old now, right? 15 years old.
I won't completely spoil the ending, but the the fact that the puzzles were the beasts themselves,
Mhm.
to me is what was the most interesting. I thoroughly enjoyed this game. And so really, right, you run and you go all the way to the beast and it's very easy to get to them. And then you have to figure out how to get to their weak spot to kill them. And that is the puzzle in and of itself. You don't really have to climb through a dungeon. You don't really have to do any of that kind of stuff. For me was interesting and trend setting. So that's my number 10.
Such a good pick. Such a good pick. Like, I love Shadow of the Colossus. And when I played it, I lived in, spoiler alert, a fraternity at school. And I was like in a dorm room and there were guys like that didn't appreciate it. And I'm like sitting there playing until 4 in the morning, like, this is amazing. This is an experience. And no one had any appreciation for it back then. But yeah, excellent choice. Also, the simplicity of that game while also building the scale of that world is something that should probably be in game designers' handbooks because it really overcomes some huge feats when the graphics aren't all that great. Like they're cool, but they're not like stellar.
No, I agree with that 100%. I mean, they're not over the top. It's
Mhm.
more about and there really isn't anything in the environment, right? If you remember correctly,
Yeah.
it's like there really aren't a ton of birds and deer and animals, and you're like, what's going on here? And so the environment is actually kind of bare. It's really the complexity of the monsters themselves that that makes the game great.
It made me cry at the end. That game made me cry at the end.
Felt some things too. Yeah, I felt some things too.
In
So
fact, like
this gets a stamp of approval from us.
I tell you what, like I think it does. This turned out to be a pretty good varied list. I'm impressed with
Think
us.
so. I
I'm
mean,
impressed
yeah,
with us.
you've got some real time strategy, some multiplayer, some single player experiences, some classic games on that list, some older games. I think that this is a comprehensive list. This gets the stamp of approval. It's official. You can't argue with this. If you think you're right, you're wrong.
That's right.
And that's it. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, if you don't think this is the list of the best games of all times, you can get the heck out of here and just hang up your controller. In fact,
Yeah,
light your console on fire if you disagree with us and put it in the
yeah.
comments.
Remove yourself from the internet and throw your phone in the toilet because we are in charge and that's what it is.
That's right.
So
Guys, we rule the internet, and that's the end of the show. Goodbye. No, I'm just kidding. It's 8:52, and if you're not playing Zelda, you better get it queued up because 7 minutes from now, all digital copies go live. We expected the entire internet to crash, so you may be here with us when that internet crashes. But we definitely appreciate you being there. That was our social interaction for the week, and now we are going to move over to our next segment, which is, do you even side quest, bro?
Dude, all you do is hunt for side quests.
Dude, all I do is hunt for side quests. It's the best. Nintendo Daddy in the chat. Shadow of the Colossus is great. I'm in line. Oh, you're in line right now? He's in line about ready to buy the Zeldas. How about that?
wow, what a nostalgic moment here
What?
at GameStop, dude. Shout out, here. I'll just
Dude,
take a moment to say it. Shout
yeah.
out to you, Casey. Like that is a real one for you to be still supporting GameStop and just waiting in line like we used to do for a game that's going to be a 10 out of 10. Mad props to you for actually showing up. That's amazing.
Dude, but I do have a question for you. Are they going to give it to you at 9 p.m.? Like you're getting it? Are you getting it in 5 minutes or are you going to be there for the next 3 hours?
So they do it on East Coast time is midnight, so they do it at 9
They
p.m.
do.
So they
Okay.
should be
All right.
releasing at 9.
All right.
Oh
Dude, you better
man,
not run out of
good for you.
gas. If you run out of gas on the way home, I'm going to cry for you. You better fuse together some materials to make your own gas if you break down on the drive home. That's all I have to say about that.
What do you got for us as far as achievements?
Let's do it. So I have a couple achievements. I know you brought a clip as well, but let's talk about me first, because that's how it should be. Jedi Survivor, right? I think that this game is like doing some very not elementary, but very like common things. So this clip is me sneaking up the back of a building, and what I'm trying to do is I am trying to kill 20 enemies with stealth kills. Ooh, you've heard of this? You've had this happen before, I would imagine.
I got it so
Yeah.
easy.
Oh, this is.
Guard the
Look at
cliff,
this.
crush the locals, look at the scenery. Nobody's getting past me.
So kind of going back to what I was saying,
Nice.
like you basically
Nice.
have you're seeing stormtroopers, you're seeing droids in Jedi Survivor, which is really cool. And why I'm bringing up this achievement of like stealth kill 20 people is that we have seen that 1,000 times over and over. We know how to do it. We get it, right? But what I love and why I want to talk about Jedi Survivor during this time is that if you go through the achievements of Jedi Survivor, it is one of the best assembled lists of achievements I've seen ever. And the reason is because you look at some of these and none of them have to do with difficulty of the game. If you go in and you're trying to platinum a game and you see, oh, play it on super hard, play it on hard, play it on easy, you immediately go, nope, not gonna 100% that game.
Yeah,
But
that's
when,
true.
yeah, right, you're not gonna do it. But when you see achievements that are like, hey, get 20 stealth kills, you're like, oh, I can get 20 stealth kills. I can do that. And then you get one, and then you dig a little deeper, and it says, hey, get all the Jedi chambers. And you're like, oh, well, those are pretty big. It's going to be hard to miss those. I would like to stand on this and tell you that I'm going to platinum this game, and it's only because I read through the achievements, and there is none of those BS achievements like go to every nook and cranny, find everything and just poke around aimlessly, do things that you don't want to do. Each one of these achievements is assembled in a way that makes you feel like, oh, I can do that and I'm going to work towards that. Like one of the achievements is like have a stupid haircut on and then drop kick somebody. Well, I know I don't get the drop kick till later, but I'm wearing that stupid hat until I get that achievement. And there's others that are in that same vein, so I'm going to switch over to the other stupid haircut and I'm going to do the other achievement. But what it's done is I'm starting to like prioritize my achievements before I can even get them. And I know it's going to lead me to a place where I'm going to try to platinum this game at some point.
I love that. You just gobble up those achievements, dude. You've got them lined up. You're looking through the list. You're going for
Dude,
that 1 million gamer score.
you
I
know I
love it.
am. You know I
I
am.
love it.
You know I am. Do 100,000. I'm going to hit it. And so one other thing that I want to say about the Achievement Hunter that I think is just brilliant with Jedi Survivor, okay? I went through Harry Potter. I'm like, maybe I could platinum this thing, and then it asks you to cast like a super spell on each enemy type. And the problem with that is there's no way to see which enemies that I've done that for and which enemies I haven't. So now I got to hit 20, and I don't know what 12 I've already done. No, no, no. That is the wrong way to build an achievement because I have no idea which direction to go and I'm not going to go back and do all 20 again. I'm not going to do it. That's a waste of my time. That's not respecting my time. In Jedi Survivor, I looked this up. At the end, you can get into a temple on one of the side quests that reveals every item on the map. Exactly where it is. Here's every item in the map. Go find it if you want to. Brilliant. I'm going to go seek out every one of those. But if you ask me to randomly hunt and peck in the environment, it's never going to freaking happen. And I just want to give Survivor the biggest ups ever because this is how everyone should build achievements. Don't waste my time. Don't make it blocked behind difficulty. Make it skill-based and also make it things that are achievable without wasting people's times. Do it. You'll be rewarded by gameplay.
I love that. And it's funny that you mentioned that because we Ratchet and Clank had a similar thing towards the end of the game where you do a little quest and you pick up this amulet and then the amulet shows you here's where all your upgrade stuff is on the map. If you feel like doing it, do it. If you don't feel like doing it, don't do it. And I think that that is super useful and as much I'm never going to be an achievement hunter in my life, but
Don't never
if
say never.
I wanted to, that would be the way to go. So I think that really values, especially as we're older, it values the end user's time 100%.
Yeah, and like I think it's just brilliant because it's going to cause me to play this game more than if they said just to collect everything and we're not going to point you in any direction, right? Like if I run into that, I'm not going to spend the 100 hours or look up the guide to like walk through it all. Just point me in the direction and I'll play it and I'll still play your game for a handful more hours. And I think it's just smart and everybody should be doing it. Everybody should
I
be. Don't waste my
I
time. Give
agree.
me a hit list.
I agree
Okay.
100%.
Is it time to get
So
off my
for my
soapbox?
No, you handled that well. You handled that perfectly, I would say. So for my achievement, since we're doing this, I do have one for us to watch, which is a good old boss battle. And really, this is just we're close to probably 75% through the game, but this is just the end of a boss battle here, and you can kind of just see how the game mechanics work. You have to swap between guns as you run out of bullets. They all do different things. Great dodge mechanics. Game feels fast, right? You can't stand in one place and just shoot. So big props to this game as we loop through this, showing you how those combos work.
Yeah, for sure. Like this game looks so pretty. I want to get it in place from Ratchet and Clank. Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. Dude, I'm just catching up on the chat. A lot of love here. You get a physical at 9 p.m. Phil said that because it's 12 p.m. East Coast or a.m. East Coast. What? HG's in here. Remember, was you commenting first? Oh, he's trying to get big and bad. Big dog in the chat. He's making fun of the dedication of our gamers, doing everything they can, even buying games off the street corner. Desperate times, desperate measures. What can I say?
That's right. Well, I think it's probably time, right, for us to do the giveaway now?
Let's do that. Let's do exactly that. It's time for some giveaways. What do you got for us, Phil?
Okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn subscribers only chat. If you're subbed to the channel, if you've been showing us love, you've been showing us support. Hold on, if I can get this to actually do subscribers only chat.
That's right.
Well, one thing I will say is that my son took a computer class, and he figured out how to turn the mouse larger and to make it a different color. So now I have a larger mouse than I'd like to use, and it's green. It's aquamarine. So that's why I'm
pretty.
having trouble clicking things.
That's really
so
pretty.
Subscribers only chat is on. We're gonna play Guess the Game. I have a print here, a cool print from our guy Eli Wolf, who we've been giving away these art prints, plus some high quality stickers from Bulbacon. And we are going to do Guess the Game, and then whoever comments, once again, if you are subscribed and you want to comment, we will put this in the mail. We have been doing this pretty much. This is, I think, our 6th or 7th giveaway, and we've been doing them, and we're going to continue doing them. I mean, really, the purpose of this is to say thank you to people who tune in every single time to us, who watch for an hour and a half on their free time, and we're going to continue to give, and we're going to find other ways to give back. But that is what we're doing for right now. So we're going to let this run. We'll load up Guess the Game, and we'll see who comments.
Yeah, and also like something else I want to throw out there is if you have any ideas for like gifts that you guys would like to see us give away on the cast, like obviously we're not going to give away an Xbox One anytime soon, but like anything that's like semi-budget friendly that you might have like input on, send it our way because it's something that I've been thinking about. I have a few ideas that we can go with, but yeah, we're always open to suggestions. But we're hopping into Guess That Game. This is number 362. We are looking at what looks to be some sort of scaffolding left to right and a crane hanging down. I can tell you that I have played this game. I cannot tell you at all what game this is. Do you have any idea?
Final Fantasy?
Which one?
7?
That's where I was going to go too. Final Fantasy 7. Oh my gosh, if you would have nailed it. Oh, this is Metal Gear Solid.
Which one?
I think it's the Metal Gear. Metal Gear Solid the first.
Oh, did you get it on the second
on
try?
The second try, on the second try, on the second try. I am a god when it comes to video games. Dude, I hit that on the second still. Can we talk about that for a second? I don't know if the yin or the yang is what I would call this hoodie, but whatever one is better, that's how I feel right now.
It's pretty unbelievable that you are exceptionally good at this game. I will say that we've probably played this game 60 times between you and I, but on and off stream, and you probably have 55 of them just nailed in.
I like me video games. Oh, that would have been a dead giveaway too.
I think
Snake.
I think I've I've only played 4. I beat 4, and I was so confused when I played 4 because I had no context on the mythology that I was like, "What's going on in this game at all right now?" So for
Well,
one fun,
that's actually how you play Metal Gear Solid. No one ever knows what's happening in any of the games. So if you like go in and you try to start to play one of those games, you will never understand truly what's happening. So you did it right. Good work.
I love that. Well, I think that our giveaway time is done, and we have no one at this point in time who has clicked for the giveaway. So at this point, I'm going to hold on to it, but I am going to show what was at stake here. Do you want to bring? Do you
Ooh.
want? If anybody comments in the next 30 seconds, then we will give it to them. But I will show what we have, and we will roll this over, or either that, or you or I will do it. I bought this cool D20 Star Wars print, so D&D and Star Wars print from Eli Wolf for your wall. And I also brought these cool higher quality stickers. Let's see what we got here. When Shelly and I had our in-person meetup, we have some Groot and Yoda.
Yeah, I
Okay,
like
so
that
that's
one.
cool. Yeah, we have some of this cat with a Batman shadow. Okay, and we have this actually really sweet Mandalorian sticker. Um, so we'll hold these, we'll hold on to these, and either you and I will keep them, or we will roll them over into another giveaway of some other kind. But yeah, we do giveaways every single week, and we will be giving this away at some point. Um, why don't we move on to our last segment of the day?
Let's do it. Our last segment of the day is, guys, games. Let's say to those games.
I'm going crazy right now. You can't do this to me.
The state of games. That's right. Where are we in the gaming hemisphere? What is happening? What is going on in gaming culture? And there's a couple of big things popping off. The first of which, maybe you've heard of it. There's a new game coming out 6 minutes ago that people are kind of excited about.
Yeah, that's where our fan base is right now. They are in line or on their way home or at the store or, oh, look, so we have somebody here. So HG, can't pick you because you're not subbed to the channel anymore. So if you let's see, let's turn it on one more time and see if he's able to comment. His subscription, I believe, ran out. But if you are subbed to the channel, HG, I will go back and re-give you the gift that we have because you actually haven't won in a while. Yes, Tears of the Kingdom just came out. All of our friends, um, um, all of our friends are there in line. All of our friends are there in line waiting for them, and we're gonna see. We'll
That's
see.
right.
It's gonna be a great game, and you and I are not on that boat right now.
No, we are not on that boat. In fact, I just pulled up a random Twitch stream, so shout out to this guy. He's doing great things. But essentially this game is taking over the world right now. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is coming off of Breath of the Wild. Everyone knows what Breath of the Wild is. They were excited about it. I've heard this game described as imagine Breath of the Wild was the first draft, and this is like the rewrite or the second product after the first draft. And based on the review I watched today, I think that I might actually really enjoy this game. Where are you at? Are you psyched? Are you hesitant? Like, I am openly a hater of Breath of the Wild, and I think that I am buying into this whole heart.
Yeah, I mean, I can see there's a freaking 100 weapons here again already.
Yeah, there are.
It's
Yep.
cool that it doesn't only takes 2 seconds to chop the trees down. I kind of just want a break from this game already. It's like
Yeah.
200 hours in the last one, but I'm gonna be buying it. My son's gonna have it tomorrow when he comes home from school to play it. Um, it looks beautiful, looks gorgeous. Um, yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know.
It looks great, and like all of the things that I did not like about Breath of the Wild, I think that they addressed or tried to fix here. The temples seem better. Like the random cooking and just messing up dishes seems like it's no longer a thing. You're able to just like pop up and make recipes wherever, which was my biggest frustration because I didn't care about building that stuff, and if I died, I just reloaded. So I think that they've done multiple things that allow people ease of use and ease of play in this game. They've also talked about the fast traveling being a lot easier to use, whereas in the past, if you had to go somewhere far away, you'd have to teleport kind of near there and then walk on foot, and then it would be raining and you couldn't climb up a mountain, and it just did not work for me for multiple reasons. So I'm very excited about this game. That said, I am loving Jedi Survivor right now, and I know that if I dive into a game like this, I might not come back to Jedi. So I think I got to do my due diligence and stay where I'm at.
Yeah, can we just talk about how obnoxious the rain and the lightning were in Breath of the Wild? Like, oh my God, you want me to explore an environment, and every time I go to explore, there's a lightning storm unless you do the side quest, which by the way I did to get the lightning helmet because my son wanted it desperately, so that way he could go wherever he wanted to and have the lightning helmet so that you don't get shocked. So yes, I did do that side quest as a dad
I
and did
didn't even
all
know
of
that was a side quest. I'm going to
yeah,
be
you had to
real.
do
I
4
didn't
other
even know
side
that was a
quests to
side
get to
quest.
yeah, you had to do 4 other side quests to complete that quest. So, but that can we talk about the absurdity of what's going on there?
I mean, you love your child, and I think that is going to be our next like segment is going to be, hey, games that we're playing with our children, because it's just too perfect to pass up, and it totally encapsulates what we're about. This is going to be one of those games that I play with the kids, and I'm afraid they're gonna like it too much, kind of like maybe your child has, but who knows?
I thought we were past it. We went through a surge, and then I thought we were past it, and then about a month ago it started back up again, and I was like, because he saw an ad somewhere for Tears of the Kingdom, and I was like, oh man, this is way more of a part of my life than I had ever wanted it to be.
Dude, you just cut them off and say, "Hey, you're not allowed to watch television anymore. It's not
Yeah,
fair. It's not
that's right.
possible."
Yeah,
But I mean,
no YouTube.
I'm ready to be back in this world. I know you just spent 200 hours in this world recently. I have not, and like I'm ready to be like, okay, yeah, I'm ready to go back. There's some nostalgia here. There's some cool enough new mechanics to get me to buy in. So I'm really excited to hop in. Probably won't hop in anytime soon though. Sorry, not sorry. I know Casey's buying it though, and he's talking about getting on here and talking about his Zelda experience in the near future. So maybe you, he, and I can be here and I'll moderate because I don't have anything to add except for, hey, is it fun? Cool, cool. I've played a game before.
I'm going to bed. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. What else happened this weekend? Anything worth mentioning?
Yeah, so this weekend, another note is Diablo 4 server crasher. This is a good sign, right? I typically don't like news stories, but what I will say about this is they're having an open beta for everyone again this weekend. So if you haven't played D4 yet, you will get your chance. Everything is erased. You start off at 0 again. They're doing it to get. This is Blizzard trying to do the right thing. They want to bring as many people in as possible onto their servers to test their server strength before the June whatever it is, June 3rd, June 12th, June 6th, I think is the actual release of Diablo 4. This they're trying to do everything they can to test their servers, press it, have things break so that way on launch day when the full game comes out, they can be good to go with no problems. I'm super excited for D4. This is a great year for games. Like I said, I'm blasting through all these 1s and 2s. Atomic Heart, Ratchet and Clank, right? God of War, trying to get through all of them so I can focus on Tears of the Kingdom and Diablo 4 for probably the rest of the year. So exciting stuff. It's this weekend, 12th through the 14th. Play
Very,
it, enjoy it, do it, enjoy your life.
very exciting. Like I think that it's just going to be great. Like they've tested it. People are high on the game, which is exactly what they want, and it's going to be a good trajectory for them. I am wondering if this game is going to have the staying power of like a Fortnite, or if it's going to come and go, like maybe some of those other games that we've seen in the past.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, I don't know how much time you put into D3. I put a lot of time into D3. I really enjoyed it despite all of its flaws. But we'll have to see as I age if I'm still in the mood for that. So we'll see. And then like you said here, to kind of as we're winding things down, just a great year for games. I mean, this is a memorable year. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think that this is one of those years, and they happen every 5 to 10 years, where you just have a year in video games that is top shelf, an amazing amazing year that has hit after hit after hit. And I think 2023 is exactly where that is. We've seen Hogwarts, we've seen Star Wars, we're talking about Diablo 4, which will be out, we're talking about Zelda, and then at the end of the year, you still have Starfield, which is going to be the next Bethesda joint. Even if it launches broken, I still have a huge, that game's going to be great as well. So there's 5 like games that are generation setters, or games that are such monoliths in this space that it's only going to continue to impact. And I'm really excited to just come to the end of the year and be like, wow, what an embarrassment of riches. Like, there are 30 games here that are all games of the year in any other year, but because it's so jam-packed with good experiences, it's hard to say that any game that came out was bad. So it's exciting. And I think in 2023, we deserve a year like this. Looking back at 2022, you looked at some of those lists and you're like, like, these are cool experiences, these are interesting experiences, but they're not like must play, look at what is happening in video games. And we are having that moment right now in 2023.
I agree. I agree. It's a good year, and like my pocketbook can't keep up. My wallet can't keep up. So like, I'm hoping it actually chills out a little bit so I can stop buying games, which I bought more this year than I typically buy. I normally limit myself to about 3 games, which I have already exceeded that this year with Atomic Heart, and actually no, I'd be at 3, right?
And
Atomic
Grounded.
Heart. No, and I bought Grounded, and I did PGA Tour as well, to play PGA Tour. So I bought too many.
Yeah.
One a month is too many, so we got to scale it back a little bit.
So like, that was my goal, was to like, why this podcast even exists is because like, I would go through and try to find deals on last year's games. Like, I knew I didn't want to pay $60, but I would pay $20 on a game everyone recommended. So thus came like a hit list of all the things that I can play through on a budget. And now we're trying to transition into like current games on this site, and I'm trying to do one a month, and I can't keep up, Phil. There's no way. I can't keep up, man. I'm not going to be able to do it.
I know we're gonna fall into the old person void and be stuck 3 years ago catching up on what everyone's talking about.
This is why we can't play Dotas, because we can't keep up because of these young whippersnappers. They keep jungling us back and forth, and we can't do it.
Perfect analogy. That was a perfect analogy.
Oh, well, that's cool. Well, hey, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. It is Thursday night, May 11th. We'll be back with another episode of Backlog Battler in 2 weeks. We're going to try to start lighting stuff up on some multiplayer streams. We played Grounded this week. We're hoping to play Grounded again next week, but we're going to try to make an effort to make the multiplayer, multiple individuals on stream playing games together a reality. And it may take a little time to get back in a schedule, but be watching the channel for that. Follow us on the YouTubes. We're trying to hit 500K views this year, and I think we have a pretty good chance of doing it, but we can't do it without your help. So we appreciate you hanging out, doing your thing. And remember, be kind to yourselves and be good. Like, games are good, life is good. Just stay positive and keep doing what we do, right, Phil?
That's right. Thanks for all the support. Thanks for everybody who messages us. We've had a great time. This is continuing to evolve, and that's it, man. Sign us out and take us away.
That's right. This is an underpowered episode. This is the Backlog Battlers specifically. We'll see you next time. Be good, be well. We love you. Kisses, hugs, and belly rubs. Good night, everybody.